Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. This is the typically 12:30 Saturday afternoon live stream, mostly dedicated to y'all across the pond who like to catch the live streams, but I usually stream a little bit too late for you. But today we're going to be talking about this nightmare of WordPress, what they've been doing lately, and we'll dive into that. But before we get there, let's see who is online at the present time. All right, we got Louis. Hello, Louis. Hello, John. Greetings to you. Josas. Is it Josas? Melis? Hello. My apologies if I did not get that right. What distro you use for a server? It is a file server. I would use Open Media Vault. It is absolutely glorious. Chad V, honestly think any distro will work if you have a preference for everyday use. Just similar. Yeah, well, he's using it for a file server, so that's why I'd say Open Media Vault. Quint's on. Hello, y'all. And Quint is a classic press fan. We'll be talking about that a little bit later today. Let's see. Thought my day job was feeding the kitty. Yeah, that's one of the day jobs. Except I have auto feeders for the kitties. That's why he's so fat. All right. Let's see. The day goes. Yes. Pizza, pizza. I wouldn't say pizza, pizza. Oh, Toss just went live. That is a big bummer. Gail, how's it going there? A few jobs, feeding the kitty, keeping them happy, healthy. I mean, I'm not their total slave, just a little slave, not a total slave, just a little slave. Let's see. Thanks in advance for the stream. Be a great stress reliever. Yes, I'll stop be screaming like crazy. Let's see. Yes. Pac-Man SCJ, that is right. I gotta switch over to live chat so I don't miss anything else. Let's see. Hopefully, Exterminator is no longer one of your jobs. No, I haven't seen any fleas for a while. I've seen evidence that one of them may be harboring fugitives, but I have not been able to track down the fugitives. So we're down to a healthy amount. Let's see. Discovered the channel a few weeks ago. Well, hello, RT. Is it Artheron? Well, welcome along. Yes, the purry mic. It was a very purry mic. Just seeing a black screen. Really? Is everyone else just seeing a black screen? Hello, welcome to live chat. It is so great to see you again, live chat. You come stun by every channel, but I never really see you hanging out or communicating. What is going on? Rebooting the phone, maybe. All right. Man, not a lot of folks on today. I guess me and Toss didn't coordinate well enough when we were streaming. Let me see how his stream is going, too. Is Toss on? Oh, yeah. Toss is on right now, too. He's doing a 30-minute chat. A 30-minute chat. All right, so let's go ahead and dive on into our subject. So, of course, this is kind of discussing and continuing our discussion on WordPress. And WordPress released this horrible monstrosity called Gutenberg, which apparently a few developers got around in a room and ate some really dank chili and started just flagellating all over the place and smelling their own flagellants, going, wow, this smells amazing. We bet that everyone would love to smell our farts. And so they released this crap onto the world that nobody asked for. And, you know, I mean, and there's so many little odds and ends to this. One of these is like, we've been talking about this since 2017. Who was caught by this by surprise? How about every user of your system that is not follow your development news? You have like, okay, how many of us actually follow Microsoft's development news? Yet nearly everybody uses Windows computers, all right? Are these people this stupid in real life, to be perfectly honest? So how is this release going for them? Well, when I first, this was first released actually just about 1 month ago. It was December 6th. It was unleashed on the world. Thursday, right at the beginning of the Christmas season, yeah. And it was rated at 2.3 star rating, meaning that a whole lot of people tried it, and they said, no, this is not what we want. So since the release, in 1 month since the release, it has went from a 2.3 star rating to a 2 star rating. I have actually seen 2 more legitimate 5-star comments of people who like smelling bad flatulence, and nearly every other new 5-star rating is because WordPress, when you review a plugin, automatically defaults the rating to 5 stars and doesn't remind you to change it. It just assumes you want a 5-star review everything. And that's why actually there's so many of these. If you were to actually read all of these, and I actually have read the vast majority of them, let's just go ahead and look at these, look at the 5-star ratings, shall we? So, like I said, there's a couple of these that are legitimately 5-star ratings. It looks as though most of the 1 stars are now converted down to 5 stars. But again, we're not going to go through all 400 of these. But again, some of these are actually giving some positive things. But you'll see just from the titles here that some of them are not. So why all the hate? And then people are telling him why there's all this hate. Because the majority of the users, let's see, some people may like it, but it should be an optional editor by default. And that's kind of the take of the community. If they just kept it as a plugin or added a 3rd tab, nobody would really, well, some people would care. There's some other issues behind it. Better than many claim, but could be so much better. Gave it a 5-star. This guy, very good. Doesn't understand the negativity. And then, of course, this is Orlando. He is a Gutenberg evangelist. Was skeptical at first, but now loves it. So there are a legitimate number of 5 stars now, which is good. That means that most of them have moved. This is cannot publish. I know you're working hard to spend hours trying to publish a post, but I thought it would only take 30 minutes. I called my hosting company, put in a ticket. But I have been writing blogs for a long time and thought it'd be... Yeah, literally this guy contacted his hosting company because he thought there was something wrong on the server. That's how bad it is. So this guy is a legitimate 5-star, enjoys it. Let's see. So this guy responds to the 5-star review, basically saying, very easy layout, 2-column with text. And then, of course, a lot of people are coming back. There's so many different things. So again, this is where we have a very small amount of things. Oh, this guy here is just being facetious. I like Gutenberg. Thank you for this evolution toward the better, and it will bring a lot. Really? Tell me what you like about it. It has made my life so much more difficult. So we're looking at these 5 stars. This one here should be probably not a 5-star. Omits multiple plugins we use regularly. Thank God for Classic Editor plugin that we can revert back. And then this guy here apparently likes it. So again, these are the 5 stars. Now it does appear as though more of these have been properly converted back from 1 star to 5-star. But let's look at some of these. If it works, don't change. Still a long way to go. I did an entire video simply reading some of these, so we're not going to go into all of those now. Wow, it got really bright out there. Let me change that. Not super good, but yeah, lighting is always a little hairy on this one. So we're going to read all of these. Clients are begging me to get rid of this. Unusable. It just sucks. Looking for alternatives now. 0 stars, anyone. Horrible. My 2 bobs worth. Terrible to see something like this from the WordPress team. Oh my goodness. Horrible. Worst plugin. Made default. Improve it or move it to the trash. Garbage. I made an account just to leave this review. There's 2 of these people, by the way. Gutenberg, terrible for pasting text from heavily edited. Delete the editor. Makes content creation take longer, inefficient, poorly usable. When, by the way, it is not compliant in the slightest. All compliancy has gone out the window. So, needless to say, this has not turned out well. On their Twitter page, every release, don't like the new editor. Full of bugs, mainly JavaScript errors. It's awful. Tons of errors in posts. Won't load. Oh, good bleep. There's been nothing but updates with this crap. Just dumb. On to what? Wix? Craft CMS. Pretty awesome. There's millions of options. But if you will search every time what does not like you, you'll never be happy. Terrible, awful, snafu, definitely unwanted, unneeded, and not ready for any release. Don't fix what's not broken. Literally, if you go through their Twitter page, everything since the release is just full of these comments like, stop! And these guys have the arrogance of coming back and going like, you know, oh, but we've been talking about this for a long time. Guys, the regular end users are not involved in the development. Okay, and then you get people saying things like, this is the future of the web. No, it's not. The future of the web is people who work on compliant websites who need to be able to do simple data entry, input the data, and go with it. Now, last time I talked about this, which I think was the tail end of a live stream, I had showed a site that we had just finished developing for a winery out in Boston area. And this site here, what we do with this is if we come on down, this is all built in on WordPress. Of course, we're using the 4.9 core. And of course, going into the wineries here, you come over here and we have all this information. So let me find a wine that actually has everything filled in. We don't have all data for all wines. Good enough. This is good enough here. All right. So in theory, what this editor is going to be able to do is allow a person to come in and build this page without any extra code. All right. Now that's the theory behind what they're trying to accomplish. A page builder, as it were. Now, of course, if you bring up and you try and compare Gutenberg with the page builders, Fusion, Visual Composer, Elementor, Divi, etc., you'll find that they'll come out and go, well, this isn't a page builder, this is a content builder. No, their goal is to turn it into a page builder. That's their goal, their ultimate goal. And so what they're doing now is they're trying to say that the end client is going to do this. Guys, this company, I think, has 200 or 300 wines available. It would take in excess of about, I would say in excess of about 1 to 2 hours, especially with how bad Gutenberg is, to actually build this content per page. You think a company has 200 hours to invest man-hours in building a page like this? No. So what I did is I built on top of the WordPress core is I built a lot of customized things. So they literally have a block of single line texts. Tell us about the appellation. Tell us about the region. Tell us about the country. Tell us about the color. Tell us about the varietal. Give us the press releases. Tell us about the producer. Tell us about the vineyard practices. Tell us the tasting notes. Tell us the vinification. It's simple blocks of text. They copy, paste, 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 paste. The theme drops the content where it's supposed to go. This is how business works, people. So what I see in a lot of the comments is people who are in one world or the other, assuming that Gutenberg is actually good for the other. So WordPress is used as a CMS for main web pages, and it's used as a CMS for blogs. So of course, I have the website homeCookingHacks.com, which is where you can download my recipes. And I have this set up as nothing more than a very, very simple blog. Nothing more than a blog. So what you see if you read through the comments is people say, man, this might be okay if you're a blogger, but this just does not make sense in our enterprise. And then professional bloggers are coming in and saying, this makes no sense for blogging. Maybe this is great for people in enterprise. Guys, it's not good for anybody. Because nobody has time to screw around with little blocks. You hire a developer to build your site out so you can very easily add content in a way that makes sense. How does it make sense? Well, a simple word processor makes sense. We all speak the language of a Word or a LibreOffice or a, I don't know, pick your favorite word processor that's very easy to understand. And that's exactly what they got rid of, an easy to understand editor for a block editor where in theory you can drag and drop stuff around. Not to mention, why is everyone complaining that their sites are slow, their servers are crashing and all this kind of stuff? Very simple. Because they've taken a system that was based on PHP where everything, you put it on the page, you push the button, it makes a PHP request, and that is highly efficient, very clean, very lean on the server, no issues, no problems. They've replaced that with Gutenberg, which is built on Active.js. It is a giant, massive Java query library of insanity that bogs down both your browser, your computer, and the server while it's constantly going back and forth, causing errors left, right, and center. And not to mention the fact that every time you start including something like a giant JavaScript library, we inherently get insecurities and vulnerabilities, because JavaScript, by the way, is the #1 way to infect people's computers with viruses. We don't need JavaScript running around. So let's talk for a moment about the Hello Dolly plugin. that somebody, once again, ate a big bowl of chili and smelled some flatulence and said, this is an amazing idea. And Hello Dolly is packaged with every install of WordPress. So this is simply a thing which displays lyrics from the song in the dashboard. Do you know how many times I've seen people hack the hellodolly.php file and use that as a break into a website? I work on this stuff as my day job. I've seen it a lot. I can spot if somebody infected one of my sites with that system immediately because hellodolly.php is in the plugins folder. Everyone expects it to be there because your average person doesn't remove the crap they don't use. If they don't like it, they just disable it. They never delete it. You should delete it because that is a way that hackers will get in there, drop their malicious code in that. Well, the same thing's going to happen with JavaScript libraries. Everyone knows the JavaScript libraries are supposed to be there. The hackers know exactly which libraries are supposed to be there, and so they will get in there, they will infect those libraries, and your site will be hosting malware without you even realizing it. That is the problem with WordPress now. It's very sad because I have been using WordPress as a user and a developer for well over a decade now. All right. My main website, which is my Christian site, this is my biggest site. I got to type it right, though, of course. This guy is built extensively on WordPress. This has been a WordPress website since, I think, 2003 or 2004, version 2. Okay, this thing has survived all the way up to here. The next version of this site, and I am working on a rebuild of it right now, this site is not WordPress. It will not be WordPress in the next iteration, which is sad because I have to move like 150 posts over, not to mention all of the pages and things. I have most of the pages and stuff set up, but the reality is it is very sad to see something that you've used so long and enjoyed so much to see it die because some stupid developer got in his head that the whole world wanted your stupid fart smell in their system. Because you say this is a community build, the community said stop. They said at the very beginning of beta testing, don't do it. They said a long time ago, we don't like it. They gave you review after review after review after review after review saying, do not use this. And all they kept coming back with is, hey, tell us how to improve it. You put it in the dumpster and you catch it on fire. That's how you improve it. You get rid of the stupid thing. It's stupid. It's bad. It doesn't match your user base. It's not good for bloggers. It's not good for enterprise. It's not good for anybody. Holy crap. Holy crap. It's bad. Bad. And so sorry, WordPress, you're done. There's very few instances now. I've told all of my clients and development teams and people I work with, I'm not going to be done building on WordPress. If people still want this nonsense, I'm an expert in this stuff. I'll keep working with this nonsense. I'll keep working on this nonsense for a long time. But I ain't going to be messing with it in my personal stuff. So where do you go? Well, you need to ask, do you want to have a commercial solution? Do you want to have an open source solution? There's really only 3 big open source worlds in the full genre, and that is WordPress, Drupal, and Joomla. All right. Now, there's a variety of other ones as well. And so some people are pointing toward, I don't even know how to pronounce this, EXAE. The problem is these are all these commercial ones, you know, $690. Let's see, what is this? 11-month build annually or 15-month build monthly. I'm not sure what the 690 is, but anyway, these are extraordinarily expensive. This type of stuff, I would never push somebody this direction. And of course, this is up to 20 pages, up to 40 pages, up to 100 pages. Yeah, guys, businesses can't afford this crap. Why these guys are still in business, I have no idea. Probably the #1 commercial solution is Craft CMS. And I have not used Craft because, again, it's not very viable. Now, when you're building a website just for yourself or for a friend, it is free if you're doing something professionally. So I would have to charge somebody, you know, the full $300 up front before we even start. That's generally outside the scope of the typical clients I take on. And so for me, Craft CMS just isn't really a solution. Now, if you're looking at blogging and you have some technical skill, because I don't know of any single installers for this platform, a little bit more complicated to set up, you can use Ghost. But again, this is really only good for blogging. And so if you are looking for an exclusive blogging platform, which would match my home cooking hacks, but not some of my other things. So of course, I want to stick as much as I can in the open source world, just kind of see what else. Basically, the reason I like the open source is they're extendable. I can easily get in there and make modifications, whether I'm making modifications to the core or making modifications to the theme. I don't want to be tied in. I don't want to be tied into a company type thing. And that's one of the biggest deals with Craft and, you know, these paid ones is you are very limited what you can do. It's actually the same problem with getting WordPress from WordPress.com, which is where you pay them for a WordPress install. You are highly limited what you can do. And also why I don't recommend WordPress managed hosting, on top of the fact that WordPress managed hosting also forces your updates, which you don't always want. So, of course, hey, let's have a look at Drupal. Of course, most people, oh, great, Drupal's getting Gutenberg too. Drupal already sucks, people. Drupal's already the bottom of the barrel. The only thing keeping Drupal alive is this is the official CMS of the government. And that should say a bad enough thing. But now they're trying to port this nonsense into Drupal, a new kind of Drupal. I actually did see, I couldn't find it today when I was looking for some of my links, but somebody actually left a comment on one of the Drupal pages where they're coming, this like, this is so great, you know, well, this. And somebody leaves a comment and says, you guys should look at what's happening to WordPress because of this crap, which is kind of funny. So, of course, hey, and here's a new way to Drupal. Yeah, we're going to Gutenberg it, man. Yeah, no, I mean, sorry, but WordPress has enough momentum that Gutenberg is not going to kill it. It's just going to seriously maim it for a while. Drupal does not have a good enough user base that Gutenberg could very possibly kill the Drupal project. If they force this into Drupal, it could very possibly kill the project because the developers have spoken and don't like this nonsense. They don't want the nonsense. Their task is not to be little things sipping their lattes at Starbucks on their little Apple computers, dragging and dropping blocks. That's not what the developers want, and that's not what the end clients want. Nobody wants this but hipster millennial morons sitting at Starbucks and sipping lattes on their Apple computers. My apologies if that offended you. That's a stereotype. I apologize. But nevertheless, so if you are looking at just a blog, my recommendation right now is to move towards Classic Press. This is maintained a more professional WordPress without Gutenberg. So professional, actually, they do need to change this. Maybe we should email them and change this. This picture is actually WordPress, not Classic Press. And I can tell because right here, you can't see it on the screen. I can. It says, howdy, Classic Press. This is the first thing they got rid of. They said, howdy, admin? That's so unprofessional. They got rid of the howdy. And so they need to update this photo. But what they did is they forked WordPress at 4.98, and it now has 4.99 for those following along. They forked it at 4.98, and they are continuing the development off-center, off-site from WordPress. Now, what this means is that some WordPress plugins, the classic legacy ones that don't integrate Gutenberg, are going to continue working with Classic Press. But as WordPress and Classic Press diverge further and further apart, you're going to see less WordPress plugins actually functioning on Classic Press, at least not without a lot of heavy modifications. So if you know programming, you should be able to get around that. But the challenges, of course, with this is going to be good. So I will probably switch to Classic Press for basic blogs and for the types of clients' websites I'm working on because I don't generally use plugins for my sites anyway. I build everything out based on the WordPress core, which is not changing too much in Classic Press, and hopefully we get documentation. Now, this is still a beta project and it's new, so this recommendation may change down the road. But for now, I would recommend porting towards Classic Press rather than diverging through WordPress because WordPress is, they're not listening to user base. They're cramming stuff down people's throats that people aren't asking for. And it's causing a lot of issues. It's causing slow moving sites and things like that. All right. So what I'm actually moving to for most of my own personal things is I'm moving over to Joomla, which is, I think it's just as old, if not older than WordPress. It's probably more like, it's not as user friendly as WordPress is, but it is just as, if not more powerful. It has it's a lot easier to edit and customize the core files without actually breaking the core, because you can basically take any core file from the site and you can port it into your theme, and you can override the core files on a theme level. That is a powerful thing that WordPress does not necessarily. Well, I guess you can sort of do that in WordPress through the functions files. But it makes it a lot easier to do in Joomla, because you actually start with the file and then modify it to your liking. And then a future update won't break the updates that you do. So with Joomla, of course, we have the store options, we have the podcasting options, all the things that I'm going to need. And so I'm going to push more people towards Joomla, even though it is not as user-friendly as WordPress, but at least they listen to their community a little bit more, and there is a lot of good documentation and active development on it. So that's kind of the direction I'm pushing people towards. It's been nice living in the WordPress world for a while, but WordPress is no longer viable once they stop listening to their user base of people that made them popular. So that's kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. All right. Let's see. Let's see. So my friend signed me up for graphic design job. I didn't want. He said he wanted 33% for getting me the client. I was pretty much forced to do it, but the YouTuber thinks they are dull. What? If he signed you up without your consent, then tell him no. You do it. Or do it for him and tell him never again, dude. The friendship's worth keeping, man. Unless it's an abusive friendship, the friendship's worth keeping. So do it, give him what he wants, and tell him don't do that again. That's the way you can save your friendship in 3 simple steps. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master, where were you last night when I was talking about the great state of Florida and the wild monkeys with herpes? Hi, Ricky. How are you? Classic Editor does everything Gutenberg can do plus more. If you want something like Gutenberg, install a page builder. Yep, absolutely. Learning. Check out the basic usage apt depackage and what PPAs are. All right. Hello, Frost Ranger. Shitterum Brat. How's it going there? Smash the like button, everyone. Managed to teach myself classic WordPress because my web host was lagging behind. Once I got the hang of it, it's super easy. Yep. Maybe they borked the software on purpose to stop independent journalists from easily posting and exposing secret society scams and crimes. Yeah. A lot of alternative CMSs, so that's unlikely. Yeah, there's not a lot of good ones, though, and that's kind of the downside. Okay, I know some academics still use WordPerfect, something about easier for references. Web without Flash, JavaScript, and trackers would be a wonderful dream. Yeah, we can only hope. Never used any tool like Bootstrap, WordPress, Drupal, or so on. I wrote PHP scripts myself, and then I knew what I was doing. Yeah, and that's a great option, but it doesn't work well for when you're building websites for clients who need to be able to have a good functional CMS that there's a lot of online documentation, so they don't always have to ask you everything. That's why I've kind of steered clear from that. And we just can't ask basic clients to do that. Do I have time after the stream? I do not. Personally, if you're looking for me. Oh, if you're talking to Quint. Okay, yep. Cool. You can use this Django if you wish. I think I've seen that a long time ago. Let's look at what Django is doing these days. That's one I've seen before. I'm not totally ignorant of its existence. It hasn't been on my radar for a while. I don't know, maybe I'll look into that. Anyone know any free hosting companies? Nothing that is good. The only student to create a calendar with PHP procedure for PHP OOP without any problem. Yeah. Apache and Python are clouding in complicated Linux code. You have to download debugging symbols to make programs work correctly. Recently, MS happens to be writing in the Linux kernel. Oh, joy. Great. That's all we need. Microsoft touching the Linux kernel. They're going to give it the self-destruct button. I know it. These kind of company results don't come 3 days max. They panic. Doesn't matter if they lose everything by the end of the month. Yeah. Craft CMS, more like crap CMS, yeah. The community are those simple, easy to fool cogs. They won't run away, right? GhostEditor is similar to Gutenberg, but it actually works properly. Yeah, Gutenberg, they were trying to copy from a lot of different things, and they failed miserably. Should go to DrupalCon in Seattle? I don't know. If you want. Let those scammers have a bite of Gutenberg double cheese malware. Yeah. I can wear a WordPress shirt and get kicked out. I've noticed a lot of people using GitHub for making web pages. Is that viable or is it only good for rates? Pizza, you used yours on GitHub for a while. I wouldn't try and use it for anything extensive personally, but Pizza, can you comment on that a little bit more? I know you've used that. Millennial here, I hate those people just as much as you do. All right, good. Are you sure scientists now? Scientists use what? Yeah, I imagine scientists would use it as well, possibly. Problem with the word howdy? No, but Quint says copyrighted the word howdy. Every time you use the word howdy, you owe Quint $5. Why do people make CMS instead of regular PWA or site? How do devs acquire clients? Well, okay, the reason you use a CMS instead of like a regular HTML, like regular HTML is always way more secure. A CMS allows an end client to actually make edits themselves. Excuse me. So when I build out these sites, right? So and I build out a few of these a month. I'm probably up to 3 or 4 or 5 or so of them a month that I'm doing. When I build these ones out, what we do is we have the ability to get in there and make some alterations and some edits to a site in order to basically allow them to do some adjustments. So like one we're working on right now out of Boston is a high-end tavern. So it's a restaurant and they want their entire menu on the internet so people can look at the menu online before they come in. And so what I built for them using some modifications to the WordPress core is I was able to build them a custom post type and then a widget. The widget pulls categories off the custom post type and populates the menu utilizing a bootstrap code so that the page will always lay itself out exactly the way we need it to. And so the site allows them, without any coding knowledge, to log into an admin portal, click menu items, add the price, add the title, add the description, add the category, save, and it will automatically be published to the website. That's why you use a CMS. You use it if you have a site that needs to adjust content. Maybe you have a blog. Maybe you have something that is constantly moving forward. That's why you use it. And how do you find clients? There's a variety of things. In fact, I have a series about self-employment type stuff on my other channel right now. That one there is, it depends on your industry and what you're doing. You might be doing local things like joining networking groups, joining a chamber of commerce, or you're doing online things like Elance is dead now, Upwork, Freelancer, Guru.com, a few other things like that. And so there's a variety of different things that you can use to find clients. So that's kind of that. About Wix.com. Wix.com is kind of what WordPress is trying to duplicate. They're failing miserably. Although Wix.com kind of sucks as well. You know, they have all of these commercials about how easy and free it is to make a website. And every time I've seen an amateur get in there and try and build their website with Wix, it never turns out looking good. It's not as easy to use as their commercials make it out to be. And so my funniest story, I think this was actually with Squarespace, which is a Wix competitor. It was hilarious because somebody contacted me, and they were some cheapskate out of Los Angeles. And they're like, hey, how much to build out a site like this? I looked over their all site, and I said, I'd probably do something like that for like $750. And so he's like, oh, that's a little much. So he goes into Squarespace. He starts working on the Squarespace. He's like, whoa. And then he comes back to me. He's like, well, I started doing this on Squarespace. I can't make it work. How much to get this working? I said $1,500. You know? Because I'm not going to sit here and mess around with their crappy little front-end stuff. I want to get in there and edit the HTML because that's what I know how to do. I'm not going to sit here and drag around with really nuclear and sipping my lattes at Starbucks with my Mac, okay? I'm not going to do that. I build stuff very good, very professional, and very fast. All right? That's kind of that. So, so how does one sign up for these type of things? Let's see, what are we talking about right now? Nobody has a .biz. So, I mean, what types of things are we talking about, Katrin? What types of things are we talking about signing up? Hello, Shurkan. How's it going there? What happened with Florida? You had wild monkeys with killer herpes running around in Florida, man. What is up with that state? Same stuff about people who can make stuff on their own. Just drop by. Just can you give me info about what you talk about till now? Summary. I'm talking about WordPress, how they killed it with Gutenberg, and the type of alternatives that I'm moving to. Talk of clients, is that all freelance stuff or you contract out by a company? So I am kind of sort of split. So I am a freelancer primarily. There are a few different companies that use me as first right of contract. So first right of contract in the world of business means that when they get a project, they bring it to me first. As long as I have the time and the desire to do the project, I'm the one that does it. So those are just connections. That one I won because we did like 3 or 4 good sites, and it ends up being a really good deal because he's excellent at marketing. I'm not as good at marketing as he is. He finds a lot of clients. He brings them in. He'll do a basic HTML mock-up, pass it over to me. I convert it into a full WordPress core and then give it back to the client with training videos. So now the client can edit everything. And then he has time now to go in and work on more basic HTML or acquire more clients. So that's kind of how I work with that one. Other ones, you know, it's just people that I've known who are in IT who don't like doing web design. They knew I had the web design skills, and so they still advertise it. They bill all the stuff through it, but I'm the one that actually does their work. So it's just working on building connections throughout things. So mostly I just kind of started out as freelance because when I was a college professor, we were on 9-month contracts, and I'm a guy that has to be doing something. And so I could not take having a whole summer off with nothing to do, so I started a freelance business in the summer. And then I quit the job the next year and did that entirely. So get pages isn't bad for small stuff. Company or not, you're going to rage quit and pay a lot to an already selected developer, at least in theory. Didn't realize your chat was on delay. Yes, no problem, man. I try and get through all the chats, and so that's why we're delayed. All right, I've used and developed with Drupal, WordPress, Joomla, and Concrete 5 when it comes to PHP-based CMSs. Suppose they all have their pros and cons and strengths and weaknesses. Absolutely. I've used, like, the last Joomla site I developed before staging a new one for myself right now. I think it was 6 years ago, since I developed a Joomla site. And you know, after spending 6 years on primarily dedicated to WordPress, mostly, I can say Joomla, you know, having a decade of experience behind me now, Joomla makes a lot more sense now than it did when I first used it. I'm not sure if Joomla has come along that far in that much time, but I know my skills certainly have grown tremendously. And so, you know, for that, the only one, I've not seen Concrete 5. I may have to look into that one. Drupal for me was just always crazy annoying. It's just too much overhead to get that crap working. It literally took me like an hour just to get it installed. Like WordPress I can install in like 2 or 3 minutes. Joomla's not too long to install, but yeah. GitHub, let's see, GitHub and GitLab page is good for basic website or blog, but you can't do stores or podcasts. It's also more advanced and harder to use than most CMSs. All right. Main site and main full front end and back end. Okay. To make a post, you have to create a markdown file and /content. Okay. How can you trust the user will be able to do that? Do you have cases where you end up constantly doing things for them? Okay, so yeah, that's actually a good question, John. So some of my clients don't want to mess with it. And so if I have a client that's like, hey, we're going to build a site. So like I have one in, oh, where's she at? Minnesota, maybe, I think. This is, it's a real estate agent who is basically grew up, she lives in a small town and she grew up in that small town. And so she knows a lot of the history. And so she actually has a blog where she talks about the town history, particularly in the real estate in the town history. It's a really fascinating thing. She doesn't want to mess with any of that. So she bought the domain, she buys the domain from me, the hosting from me, and you know, every month or so, she'll email me something that needs to go up on the website. And then I just go in there, drop it in, and then I bill her for that. On those, I classically have used WordPress because even if it's HTML and I have the code, it's still faster for me to build up a good WordPress website and simply drop content in. Well, before Gutenberg happened, it was anyway. So sometimes I'll get clients to do that. Now, I have another client in town here with a travel agency that they wanted to learn how to do it all themselves. And so actually what I do is I build training videos. So I build out their custom site and then I build them a training video on how to use it. And so they can walk through the training video. And then those people, they usually manage everything themselves and they'll just ask me simple questions. And if as long as it's a simple question I can answer in like 5 minutes or less, I don't bill them for that. Sometimes they get into a case where it's like I need to go in and do something more advanced. I just bill them hourly for that. So that's kind of that. So it's not a problem if I constantly do things. They're just constantly getting an invoice from me. No, that's not a real big deal. So that's that. Okay, going to use Nextcloud and OMV for the server. All right, very good. So instead of doing routes, you edit different files. You can make a blog and post routes and stuff. Yeah. Brother is a web dev, and he's had cases where the client has been far too dependent and it's turned into a time sink. Well, all he needs to do in that case, though, John, is a time sink is an opportunity for an ongoing contract. You know, so, you know, for me, I have my hourly rate established, and it's like, hey, if you need something from me, if it's a quick 5-minute email, no big deal. I just do that. But if we're getting in there and constantly answering big questions, constantly changing things, constantly editing things. So when I build out a site, I get paid with it within the 30 days. And then you have 30 days to make any adjustments. Those are all free. Anything after that gets billed at an hourly rate. I start at half of an hour to start, and then I bill in quarter-hour increments after that. So that's kind of what I do. Websites I've seen have been Wix websites. Yep. Hello, Peter. How's it going there? Do you use PHP to build sites for your clients? I generally don't get into manually building stuff out of PHP. An app here or there maybe, but for the most part, I just kind of stick with CMSs and I modify CMS cores instead. I build some static sites. There's like a money lender and somewhere in Pennsylvania that I do a lot of static sites for. That works out. It's about the clients thing. Already answered. All right, thanks. All right. What about October CMS? I haven't seen October CMS. Let's look at that one. Oh, free and open source self-hosted. I haven't seen that one before. That one might be neat to look into. Self-hosted platform. So this is one he's talking about. Open source self-hosted CMS platform on the Laravel PHP framework. Thousands of studios, freelancers all over the world. I'm going to look into this one a little bit more closely. Okay. Ooh, I might look at this. I probably wouldn't port my Huge site to it because my Huge site really has a lot of needs. I understand my R Walk and Christ site. It's a blogging platform. It's an e-commerce store. It's a podcast. It's, so and I already know how to use Joomla, so I'm doing that over there. But I am absolutely going to look into October CMS. Thank you for that. That is a really cool thing to look into. I will play with that one. Where'd I go? I lost my place. I lost my place. What do people think of JavaScript on the back end? I think it's a horrible nightmare. DIY Coder, if you just dropped in, what I'm moving most of my more complicated personal sites to Joomla, my basic sites to Classic Press, but I am absolutely going to look into October. That looks like it might be a good thing to go with. Wix is what you use to tell your friends you've got a website and be ridiculed by them afterwards. Webs.com, Weekly.com are easier than Wix, and the sites look better, but they still suck. I remember Webs.com. That was kind of crazy. Cool hat and enter an actual crime scene with it. Yeah, probably could. This is actually, I did some forensics workshops with one of the foremost forensics experts when I was still a professor. So I got the hat. I got the hat for bagging the bat. We had a bat. It was up at Williams College. There's Professor Kaplan up there is a foremost expert in forensic chemistry. And so I did a workshop with him a number of years ago. And so we're actually all staying, the whole workshop crew was staying at the in the very beautiful campus. Campus is older than the country is. We're staying in this ancient building, and this bat gets in and actually bites one of the people at our workshop. So she had to go up for rabies shots. But I get up, and the bat's kind of swinging around, and I hear the ladies screaming on the floor below. They kick the thing out. So then I have this bat circling over there. I go at the pillowcase, I bag the thing, put the thing in a pillowcase, and throw it out in front so we can take it to animal control to have it tested. So I come in with a bat. I got the bat. I got the bat. So they gave me the hat for bagging the bat. 750 is cheap for custom build website from scratch. Yeah, but it's, I'm really good and really fast. That usually turns into a pretty good profit for me at 750, as long as it's just simple and basic. Get caught. At least those around you are bigger idiots. WordPress still uses PHP 5 when they have to upgrade to PHP 7. I can't imagine how smooth it's going to be. They're already in the process. I think they've dropped an older version. I forget which older version, which version got dropped down to, but they are slowly migrating it up. It is now fully compatible with 7. It's just back compatible to some version of 5. I just don't remember which one they're back to right now. So the advanced kids in my boot camp cohort talk about these same things coming to get paid clients, so I was curious. Yeah, absolutely, no problem, man. And good luck to you. What's my primary Linux distro? Linux Mint Cinnamon. And I'm still using 18.3 because I like it and I don't see a reason to change yet. So the following quote on Reddit, Choosing Beggars. Hey, can I have a free logo? If you give it to me, I will friend you on Facebook because friends are priceless. Tell them, yeah, if you negotiate free electricity for 3 months from the power company for me, you can friend them for it. I used to create bad Weebly websites when I was 11. Training videos are great. Either Weebly or Web has a free tier last I knew, but it was plastered with ads. Training videos is a great idea. Yes, that is absolutely core. So I do those on the Linux builds, of course, and I use Simple Screen Recorder, log in and just show them how to do things because I do a lot of custom post types. And so you're not going to find basic WordPress stuff. What I do need to do is do more general WordPress ones to give people a whole playlist of general WordPress tips and tricks, and then some, and then just add the extra stuff. Louis, please stop asking if everything is free. Look it up, dude. Just look it up. I got stream idea. 3 people have 1 hour to make a website with free website builders, and viewers judge the site. Nice. That's a really cool. That's a neat idea. I want Farron to move his site off Weebly. Well, Farron is also a kid too, so he's going to be limited in what he can do. So. Good morning from the West Coast. Building i5-8400 computer today. 6 cores. Nice. Very sweet. Very sweet indeed. That'd be funny because all 3 of them would suck, and then we would have to judge the viewers' streams, have to stream them. Yeah. Whoop. Lost my place again. Many questions. Hey, man, no problem. No problem. Transitioning out of graduating and into working. Hey, man, that is really good. I mean, really good to ask a lot of good questions that are hard to get answers to. So, hey, Dash Dash, how's it going there? JS is garbage on the front end. God only knows why people thought it should be anywhere near a back end. Yep. Anyone have any tips on how to be more patient on programming? Katie, do you have tips on how to be more patient in programming? Yes. Pet a cat. If you get frustrated, stop and pet a cat a few times. And then that'll allow more time. There you go, buddy. How to be more patient on programming. I'm currently studying it right now. Okay, my biggest problem right now is after a couple fails, I gave up on stress. I don't know. For me, if things were changed around, like if there was more open source opportunities when I was in college, I would have studied programming instead of chemistry, for sure. Absolutely, hands down. I have a deep aptitude for programming. The problem I have right now is I don't have time to relearn it. That JS backend question because it plays into my bias against hipsters. Yeah, how can you tell a hipster build a website full of JavaScript? Yeah, test code immediately. I do that on my WordPress builds. Anytime I'm building something custom, I kind of build it in little stages. So like I had to build this widget, which if you're familiar with how WordPress works, you have the widget, which is kind of hilarious. People are like, oh, Gutenberg finally gave me reusable blocks. We've had reusable blocks. It's called widgets, you know? So I had to build a widget that would go into a custom post type and pull all the posts of the selected category. Well, that was neat. I had to determine how to select the categories, how to grab just the posts. And so what I did is I just kind of started with a framework. Okay, how can I just get basic code working, put on the site? Good, that worked. Now let's get it pulling from the custom post type. Okay, good, tested, that worked. Now I got to get it working categories. Okay, good, that worked. Now I have to get the widget to automatically give me a drop-down list of all of the current categories. So when they add a category, it will show up in my list. That was the complicated part, but I got it working. So test your code in increments as you go. Put in block testing things, you know, simple hello, test I'm working, or whatever else in your code. So as you're testing things, you can see and verify that certain components are working. Don't try to build Rome in a day. Yeah. But we can burn Gutenberg in a day, though. I mean, if we want to. I mean, best backend CMS for Node. Gutenberg. I wouldn't use Node. Tried to learn, failed to learn much because I was trying to fully understand every function, etc. I focused on the wrong objective. We would all stream our websites. I'll go over all the rules. All right. Okay, so they're doing a stream there. Get nervous, go outside for an hour or two, and then go back to your code. Yeah, there you go. You have any hardware preferences for Linux? I generally use Dell or Lenovo. I've had like 0 issues with either of those. That's kind of where I steer people towards. Some people are really steering people towards ThinkPads, which are good. I mean, those are, of course, IBM, which is Lenovo. So, yeah, those are good as well. I personally don't use HPs. I have a personal vendetta against them, and I do not recommend people use them. But in theory, they do support Linux well, but I wouldn't recommend going there. Thoughts on Steam Proton? I have no thoughts on it. I'm not a gamer, so. Radeon, the best too. Discord, but it's only for people on the contest because I will use the voice chat. However, Quint Linux user and I will be streaming it. All right. Give us a chemistry lesson. On what? What do you want a chemistry lesson on? Discord is great for people like us to network and stick together. Pizza, tell them aluminum is a heavy metal. It's not a heavy metal. It's a metalloid. We've had this conversation. You lost. HDIP on my Ubuntu sucks. Judge who? All right, I think we've gotten to the bottom, and I just happened to serendipitously happen to have a kitty laying right here in a bag of kitty treats right next to Kitty's head. Hey, Kitty, would you like some kitty treats? You want some kitty treats? Do you want some kitty treats? You know what time it is, don't you? It's time for kitty treats. Yeah, it is. Time for kitty treats. Yeah, it is. Here you go. Stick your paw in there. Go ahead, stick your paw in there. Oh, don't push stuff on my keyboard. Stick your paw in there. Go for it. Stick your paw in there. Go. Oh, yeah. Dig one of them out there for yourself. Get one. Got one? Oh, there's little stuff falling to the ground there. Ready? Oh, that was just out of the view of the camera. Well, he'll get a bonus treat for getting one just out of the view of the camera. And over here. And here is your bonus treat for the day. Here, are they finger licking good? Yeah, they finger licking good. Yes. Oh, are you leaving now? Are you a fair weather friend? He got his kitty treats, so he's like, I'm out of here, yo. Got my kitty treats. I'm out of here. Jerk. Yeah, you. Oh, please. What are you doing sitting on my desk? You're not supposed to sit on my desk. I will let you sit on my desk until the end of the stream. Look at this cat. He's just like, yeah, I'm just sitting here, yo. That's me, yo. He's eating it up because he's not allowed to sit on places like the desks and the tables and things like that. All right. And he knows it, too. He's a devious one. Sorry, but new, but I think I found a good community here. Absolutely, Katrin. You can come on back anytime. I have a smart cat. Yep. Hey, smart cat, go eat. He'll go eat, I'm telling you. Okay. It says my phone number has been used too many times for verification. Just logged in. Hello. Hello, Lou. We are just wrapping up. Alrighty. Well, I think it's about time we wrap this guy up. So thanks for hanging out. We've had, this is about, right about an hour. That's good. We had average view duration 11 minutes and 57 seconds, 241 playbacks, 51 current viewers at the end, and 61 peak concurrent. All right, so thanks for coming along, guys. And I think the next live show should be Wednesday on my channel. I'm not sure if Toss and I will get together and do something on Sunday. I'm not sure what his schedule looks like yet. I think he might be doing a stream later tonight too, right? If I saw his schedule correctly. But anyway, we will catch you guys later. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. And follow Pizza's channel there for this competition there. I'm not sure all the details, but go take a look at Pizza 11 Nerds channel and see what he's doing. All right, guys, we will catch you guys later. Have yourselves a wonderful afternoon, and I hope you enjoy switching to Linux.